Stampers, and welcome to another episode of Make It Monday with me, your host, Laura Buechler from Inky Fingers Papercrafting.
This video was originally recorded on a live stream on August 25th, but unfortunately there were some issues with the stream and I've had to redo the voiceover. So as a result, the voiceover is not going to match my mouth and I'm sorry about that. Don't forget to stick around till the end of the video and Stevie will be back to give away the card that we made last week. So, friends, it is Make It Monday, and you know I get on here every Monday, except for stat holidays, more about that later, to remind you that creativity is fun, creativity is good for us, and creativity is for everyone. So I want to know, what creative thing have you been doing recently? Jump in the comments and tell me what creative stuff have you been up to lately. It could be anything. Oh, hey, Suzanne, I know what creative thing you've been doing recently, which is card making. You make so many cards, and I'd love to hear what you've been up to lately with your card making. So let me move my cameras so that you can see these beautiful cards. And I would like to know, when you look at these two cards, can you find something in common between these two cards? Hi, Sue. Oh, hey, that's great that you're finally home on a Monday. Glad to have you jumping on with us. Okay, so have a look at these two cards. This one is made with the Kintsugi Inspiration Suite, and this one is made with the Painterly Pears Suite. So what do you see in common between these two cards? I'm waiting for a couple answers in the comments. What have you got? Oh, Sue says she's been scrapbooking and card making for her creativity. Fantastic. We love that. I'm going to show you a couple more cards. Do you see anything in common between these two cards? Okay, Sue says the middle square. If I spread these all out, let's see. Can I spread them out so we can see them all? Let's do that. Let's see. What do we got? Same design. The layout is the same. Yes, all of these cards, they were all made using the same sketch for inspiration. Now, we talked last week about card making sketches. They're also called templates or layouts, or Mark pointed out that they're a lot like blueprints. Now, these sketches can be a fantastic way to jumpstart your creativity when you have all your beautiful card making supplies in front of you and you're just not sure how to start putting them together and creating something. So there's a free guide that you can get at my website. Let me put the link up here. 10 great card sketches for beginners and beyond. Now the sketch that we're working with today, which I just showed here, is part of that guidebook. And there are 9 other terrific card sketches, each one with a sample card photo, the full measurements, and even a shopping list for you if you want to buy the same supplies that I used for the sample card. But as we know, part of what's awesome about working with card sketches is you get to choose what you're going to use. Maybe the supplies that you already have on hand, and you get to decide what goes in that square, what goes in this rectangle, and what kind of focal point are you going to put on the front, if any. So I'm going to tuck these cards away now. We'll have a look at them again before the end of the video. Today, I'm going to be using the Kintsugi Inspiration Suite again to make today's card. So I've got all the pieces that are already measured out, cut to the same measurements as on my sketch, and I just get to put these together. And while I do that, I thought I would tell you a little bit, if you don't already know, about the word Kintsugi. I'm going to put it in the chat on the screen here because it's kind of a different word, right? It's actually a Japanese word. Kintsugi. Okay, and Kintsugi means this beautiful art of putting things together that have been broken. So say you have a beautiful piece of a ceramic vase or a teapot or a cup or anything like that, and it falls on the floor and it breaks. Now, the Japanese art of Kintsugi is taking those pieces and putting them back together. And when they do that, they put this beautiful gold lacquer in between the broken pieces because they believe that things that are broken are still beautiful and that they are still valuable. And in fact, they might be made even stronger by having been broken and then put back together. It's not about hiding the damage. It's about celebrating the object's history and accepting all the journeys it has been through. Now, I don't know about you, but wow, that sounds like a truly beautiful and inspiring perspective on life, right? On ourselves, on each other. We can embrace imperfection. We can honor our journeys and our histories. We can celebrate our resilience. I love that idea. Now, the stamp set shows this philosophy as well. And in fact, it is called Inspiring Imperfection. There are the crack images right here, so you can add them wherever you'd like. Then these beautiful sentiments. Thank you for helping me through this difficult time. There's beauty in your history. I know you'll get through this and be stronger for it. And of course, you inspire me, and I'm here for you. So just really beautiful sentiments and imagery in the stamp set. And of course, the specialty designer series paper with this gold foil is just stunning. All right, so I want to draw your attention to one of the things on the sketch here. It's easy to miss, but there's a little horizontal banner here that is 2 by 4 inches. And I've already got that piece of paper cut, but I need to cut the banner edge in it. So looking at my sample card, I cut the banner edge here and I cut it really, really deep. But today I'm going to cut it much more shallowly, much less deep, and I'm going to show you this cool trick for cutting a banner edge in any piece of paper or cardstock that you happen to have. Now, first of all, I know that this piece of paper is 2 inches wide. What I want to do is lay down my ruler and just mark the center. You can also just eyeball this. It just sort of depends on how picky you want to be. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't. I'm going to show you how to do it and then you can choose. So I've marked the center and I've marked that on what I'm calling the back of the paper, the side that I'm not going to have showing on my card. So I'm just going to cut a teensy little slit right where I put that mark, and then from one corner to that slit, and then from the other corner to that slit. And there's my banner. So if I cut that little slit more deeply, I would have a much more deeper banner edge, a more pronounced banner edge. But in this case, I just wanted it to be quite shallow. So that's kind of how it shows on the sketch, actually, is it's very shallow. So I'm going to go ahead now and attach that to my card. And it's just going to look beautiful because, as we know, all these different layers of designer series paper, they're all from the same paper pack. So they're going to all coordinate perfectly. All right, let's put this to the side for a moment and bring back in our sketch. I want to show these different ways that I've interpreted the sketch. So this is the card that I'm remaking right this minute, and you can see that in addition to this mat and this square and the little circle, I've also added what I call a focal point. In this case, it's a vase and a flower. So I've added that, and I'm going to be making that again on the card that we're making today. So you'll see that in just a moment. So I've added on top of the sketch these additional elements that complement the design. Now, a little bit different here on this next card that I made with the Painterly Pear Suite. I didn't add an additional focal point. Instead, I just let this beautiful designer series paper be the focal point. So you can see this layer is the same here, and I added the circle, and I didn't really add anything else except for the ribbon. In both cases, I added ribbon. And as you can see, I did dramatically different things with the ribbon when I added them. It doesn't show the ribbon on the sketch, but you get to decide what you want to do, right? So here's another example. In this case, I added another focal point here. I've got the circle and I've got the ribbon. And by the way, each of these cards also has embellishments. It doesn't tell you on the sketch where you want to put embellishments. You get to decide that for yourself. Or you could even have a card without any embellishments. Now in this case, I did something quite different. I added a really large focal point. This is using the Thankful Garden bundle and the Lovely Garden Designer Series paper. And one of the fun things about that paper pack is that on the back side, all of the designs are black and white. So I've got a black and white design here. And this banner, you can barely see it here, but it's got a black and white design too. And then the same little circle. So lots of different ways that you can interpret that sketch, right? You can do it exactly the way the sketch is. You can use it as a starting point. You can choose the theme and the colors and the embellishments and so on. You can add all different things that you decide. You can change things around. Maybe you decide that you want to do your card landscape instead of portrait. So it's just a really great, maybe it's a jumper cable for your inspiration. It gets you started, and then where you go next is up to you, right? Okay, so I've punched out my teensy little circle, and I have that sentiment, "You inspire me," and I'm going to stamp that in Misty Moonlight because that goes really well with this gorgeous specialty paper here. Have you heard, by the way, that Stampin' Up! Is discontinuing cling stamps, red rubber stamps, and we're only going to be able to get these photopolymer stamps, such as the one I'm using now, the see-through stamps, which is pretty cool if you think about it, because it means that every stamp that we get, we're going to be able to see through. We can already see through our blocks, and we're going to be able to see exactly where we're stamping all the time with our clear stamps. It also means, by the way, that the packaging is going to change because red rubber stamps are a little bit thicker and photopolymer stamps are a little bit lower profile. So the packaging is going to change too. That's pretty exciting. Okay, I have got my gorgeous gold trim and I'm going to use this on the back of my little circle. Now, the way I like to do this, there's probably a more elegant way to do it, but this is how I do it. I get out my silicone sheet first of all, and I'm going to put adhesive all over this little circle, all over it. And then I'm going to grab my gold trim. And I'm just going to like swoosh it around from side to side and put it wherever I want it to be. And I can make the loops smaller or I can make them larger. Guess what? I can do whatever I want. I'm the boss of my card. And then when I'm done messing around with it and I like the way it looks, I can just trim the edges. There we go. Oh, getting glitter all over me. Oh, that's not so bad. So there it is. You inspire me. And now I'm going to put a dimensional on there to stick it to my card. Oh, I know, Sue. Wouldn't that be an outrage? A card without embellishments? On the other hand, this card has already got a lot of gold embossing on it. And I'm adding a gold ribbon. So I think you could definitely get away without adding embellishments if you chose to. Am I going to add them today? Of course I am. All right, so this little circle is going to go right at the edge, right at the corner of that square. And now I'm ready to add the other focal points of my card, which are the vase and the flower. And you're probably looking at them on the sample card going, oh, wow, those are stunning. Laura must have done some really hard work with her stamping and her heat embossing to create those beautiful elements there. They just glimmer and shine. But wait, Stampin' Up's got my back, friends. Stampin' Up has your back too. Stampin' Up has created this whole beautiful page. This is part of the Kintsugi Inspiration Specialty Designer Series paper pack. And they are cut out flawlessly with the dies from this bundle. So check this out. We've got the vase, we've got the cup, we've even got this beautiful flower. Ta-da! So that's as hard as my work is going to be today, is taping these dies to my paper and running them through my beautiful Stampin' Up! Cut and emboss machine. Well, I guess actually the other hard part is deciding which one I'm going to do. But I already decided ahead of time I'm going to do this beautiful blue and gold vase and the little flower right next to it. So I'm just going to snip around that and get it so it's small enough to fit into my little mini machine. Has anybody else bought any of the elements from this suite? And if so, have you been using them? What would you like to share about them? Do you love them? Are you having fun with them? Are you inspired by them? Okay, Sue says she loves how I put the ribbon on. I've always struggled. She says, I've always struggled with the messy ribbon, but I love it. Well, the trick to not struggling with it is just to embrace imperfection, right? That's one of the reasons why I put the ribbon on, or I put the adhesive everywhere at the start, because I'm just like, I don't know where it's going to end up. I'm just going to put adhesive everywhere, and then wherever it goes, it's going to be fine. And then I can move it and I can adjust it. So I hope you'll try that technique, Sue, and let me know how it goes. All right, here's our gorgeous flower. It is so delicate. Look at that. And then here's our vase. Beautiful. Just getting that tape off. Very gently removing it. Look at that sparkle. All right, there's my die cut elements. Here's my card. Now I just need some dimensionals to pop these onto my card. I'm going to use some standard size dimensionals on the vase. I think just a couple will do. That's looking amazing. And I'm just going to take a little bit of tape and put that on my flower. Okay, that's going to go right there. And maybe I'll put a little mini dimensional under that part of the flower too. There we go. Okay, ta-da! That's looking super gorgeous. What if we just finish it off with some iridescent foil gems? These are very subtle but very striking, beautiful gold gems. I'm going to put a couple of them right up here. And then one right down on the sentiment to draw attention there. Okay, there we go. Now, hopefully that you've had a look at this sketch and you're starting to get the idea of how you could use sketches in your crafting. As I said, you can get the free guide, 10 great card sketches for beginners and beyond. And as you can see, you can make tons of different cards with each sketch. Like the sky's the limit. The inspiration is there. You got yourself some craft supplies. If you don't, hit up my website, and you can just have so much fun with your creativity using those sketches as a jumping off point. Don't forget, by the way, if you follow this sketch or any other and you make some beautiful cards, be sure to share some photos on Share It Saturday with me, because I love to see what you're up to. Okay, it's time for Stevie to come back in here. Where are you, Stevie? Come on back in here and tell us who won the card from last week, will you? All right. The winner is Catherine. Yay! That's Catherine B., also known as Kathy P. sometimes. So, Kathy, I will be sending you this card in the mail. My friend Kathy and anybody else who's watching, whether live or on replay, if you'd like to win one of these stunning cards that we made this week, drop a comment, let me know. Now, I did mention earlier that I go live every Monday except for stat holidays. I know what happens on stat holidays. Y'all don't want to be here in the craft studio watching Make It Monday with me. Y'all want to be out doing something else, and more power to you. So there will be no live on the stat holiday. But I will see you again the Monday after that. I will be here in 2 weeks, live with you once again to show you some more amazing crafting. So you have 2 weeks to share the video and get a chance to win a card. And you have 2 weeks to, well, really you have infinite time, but you have 2 weeks to download the free guide, 10 Great Card Sketches for Beginners and Beyond, and take some time to get creative in your crafting space. And I hope you will do just that. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had fun on Make It Monday, and I'll see you next time, friends. Bye-bye. Happy stamping.